Hey everybody, it's Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Well, President Trump is overseas. His first stop, of course, in Saudi Arabia, and it appears as though it's been a pretty good trip for President Trump. It was a trip that many in the drive-by media, the mainstream media, were really hoping President Trump would fall flat on his face, and apparently that really hasn't happened. In fact, going through some news articles about President Trump's speech on Islam and terrorism there in Saudi Arabia, President Trump seems to be getting some backlash from, Democrats and Republicans, but mainly it's because, look, we told you, Trump's now softening his tone. Well, of course he is going to soften his tone a little bit while he's overseas. But some of the other things that people have, I guess, nitpicked about President Trump is President Trump, during his speech on Islam, said in Saudi Arabia that basically, we're not here to lecture you. Let me go through some of the quotes. This from Axios.com. They write up, President Trump gave a measured, disciplined speech to the Muslim world in Saudi Arabia Sunday morning, reading entirely off the teleprompter. They say what cable TV will probably focus on is Trump made a profound rhetorical shift from the campaign. It's a shift that they forecasted weeks ago after a briefing with senior White House officials. They say now Trump sounds, when he talks about Islam, in ways that are indistinguishable from Presidents Obama and George W. Bush. Trump on the campaign trail said Islam hates us. Today, he said, quote, Islam is one of the world's great faiths. Instead of bloviating about how he's the only guy with the courage to say radical Islamic terrorism, Trump now used the more PC version of combating radicalization. Trump did say, did go a little bit into Islamic extremism, though Trump maybe he used a little bit of different words. He said the crisis of Islamic extremism. He didn't really say radical Islamic terror, but the crisis of Islamic extremism. He said, quote, this is from Trump, reading from the Washington Post here. This is not a battle between different faiths, different sects, or different civilization. Trump said this is a battle between barbaric criminals who seek to obliterate human life and decent people, all in the name of religion. People that want to protect life and want to protect their religion. This is a battle between good and evil. Trump rejected the aspirational goals and calls for democracy and human rights of former President Barack Obama. Trump getting slammed on this because he didn't call out Saudi Arabia for human rights. Trump said that, quote, we're adopting a principled realism. We're not here to lecture. We're not here to tell other people how to live, what to do, who to be, or how to worship. Instead, we are here to offer a partnership based on shared interest and values. Trump also, during this, said that, we want to work together in keeping out, radical Islamic extremism. So, I guess some people are nitpicking here. They were expecting Trump, to lash out at the Muslim world, and he didn't do it, and he softened his tone a little bit. There may be some Trump supporters who will get all in a huff and puff about that, but really I think it was a good speech from President Trump. This idea of spreading democracy and U.S. values around the world. Trump was hit by some members of Congress, Republicans, including John McCain and others, that we need to be out there and calling for U.S. values and democracy around the world, and that is something that we need to promote in all of these other countries. Quite frankly, not every country is ready for U.S. democracy. Not every country is ready to become the United States of America. And I don't know if all these countries really want to hear a president coming in and saying, you guys need to shape up. You guys need to switch over to U.S. values. You need to forget about Saudi Arabian values and everything else. Listen, I think we all know the history of Saudi Arabia when it comes to human rights. I think Trump knows the history of Saudi Arabia in human rights. Trump wanted to get across the message of terrorism when he was there. He also wanted to slap around Iran a little bit, and that worked out well too. No matter what, there were going to be some people in the media who were going to criticize President Trump and his trip to Saudi Arabia. There were some that were saying that Trump's not ready to travel to Saudi Arabia, that this is a president who is too new and too under fire to head to Saudi Arabia and take on a big speech like he did. Fact is, he did it. We'll see what this week brings. He still has a long time on his first foreign trip overseas. I still think that we're going to see at least one or two bad news stories pop up this week. I think last week was just the very beginning. I hope I'm wrong on that, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if you have some more leakage coming out of the Washington area regarding Donald Trump. So look for that maybe early this next week. But all in all, Trump opponents probably hate it. They won't admit it. But Donald Trump's trip so far has been pretty good. He's done a good job in Saudi Arabia. Now he heads to Israel. We'll see what happens there. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show, weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.